What if the life you thought was your dream was also the place you were abandoning yourself? What if the heartbreak, the unraveling, the burn it all down moment was not the end, but the way back to your truth? Welcome to the Original Love Club podcast. For a long time, I believed I was building my dream life, and on paper, it really did seem like it. A lot of people compared my life to the film Eat, Pray, Love. After years living in Italy, Spain, France, and studying energetics, attending the real life Hogwarts, traveling whenever and wherever I wanted, I decided to settle down. I had a six-figure online business. I was living with a soulmate partner. We were in an off-grid sanctuary, nestled in a wooden home he had built by hand on a remote hill in southwest Portugal. We had hammocks, nearby beaches, homegrown food, chickens, rabbits, an adorable puppy. Doesn't it just sound idyllic? I was living out a vision I'd carried for years, or at least so it seemed. It was beautiful. There was freedom. It seemed so laid back. But beneath the surface, something else was happening, and it took me a long time to see it. I was doubting my inner voice. I was overriding what I knew. I was over explaining, over giving, over accommodating, trying to create harmony outside myself whilst feeling less and less anchored within. And my body had a lot to say about it. At that time, while I was building my dream, I had terrible eczema. Actually, more like an unnameable, ever changing and morphing skin condition, which was especially confronting because I'd been teaching women to self heal for years, yet this would not respond to my existing toolkit. My system was under strain. My relationships were under strain. My creative life force was as well. Funny, really. From the outside, it all looked unconventional, but inside, I was still living in boxes, ways of operating that were so hardwired I didn't even notice them. Boxes of conditioning, boxes of performance, boxes of self, that is, soul level betrayal. Then, in August 2023, exactly 1 week after our housewarming party, a wildfire arrived to our hill. It tore through, and within a matter of days, it burned down my home, all of my belongings, and torched the property. We quote unquote lost everything, except a few suitcases packed quickly as we evacuated. And no, everyone always asks, we were not insured. Now, I had a very interesting reaction to this event. I was not depressed. I was not angry or regretful. In fact, I came alive. Not because it was easy, not because it wasn't devastating in its own way, but because for the first time in a long time, I was no longer trying to hold it all together. It was such a force of nature that I dropped fully into surrender, and that surrender was exhilarating. Because by then, the fire had already been moving through my life metaphorically. It had been showing me where what I had planned for myself was not actually fully aligned with my deepest truth. It had been showing me where accepting compromise and ideas of adulthood were not actually necessary. The physical fire, just came along to finish the job. And in its ashes, I saw something I could no longer unsee. I had been habitually seeking love from others, trying to fix external conditions, striving to achieve various box ticks so I could finally feel good inside. But that is not how reality works. Over the time that followed, I redirected my focus towards self anchoring, towards resolving my attachment patterns, unwinding codependency, and learning how to belong to myself. And that return has changed everything. Every relationship in my life has transformed as I've learned to embody my inner knowing more deeply. My self healing abilities have gone to the next level. My confidence in life, in how things work, in where I'm going and what is true for me, is off the charts now, even when materially the level of unknown in my world would send most people into a tailspin. When you know you have everything you need inside you, you become unshakable. We've been taught that the love of our life is outside. It's someone else, it's a person who's coming to save us. But when we realize that love is not actually found outside, it is within, there is a fundamental shift. And this is something I care so deeply about sharing, especially in the context of partnership, modern dating, divorce rates, and the confusion so many people feel around love, because that inner connection changes the whole game. For those who feel bewildered by love or who feel pained by it, for those who may have been like me, playing out invisible sabotage patterns whilst making themselves sick in the process and calling it love, this podcast is for you, intended as a support to dismantle counterfeit notions of love. That is, love as performance, love as abandonment, love as proving, pleasing, earning, or waiting to be chosen. When I say original love, I mean something deeper than romance. I mean the very fabric of life, the erotic charge that connects and directs all things, the undercurrent alive in all of us, our essential nature. For me, love is the layer where our souls speak and unity emerges. When you come home to this love, you come home to yourself. When you stop searching outside for what only that level of self belonging can restore, everything in your world will change. You are what you seek. You are the love of your life. Then there is no more overthinking or strategizing. Self abandonment becomes impossible the more you embody your soul. So, Original Love Club is a space for radical romantics, those who are no longer available to leave themselves in the name of love. And here we will be exploring that topic: truth, heartbreak, identity, desire, healing, relationships. And yes, the subtle ways we lose ourselves and how that loss can be decoded as the very path that leads us back. You'll be hearing stories from guests who have walked through their own fire and who have let old ideas of love fall apart so that new ones could bloom. And I hope that this becomes a gathering place for the ones standing in the rubble of what they thought was their dream, and for the ones who can admit that something deeper is calling beyond the surface. And all the while, this is my living example. I am in real time birthing something I was shown inside to do, something I have felt coming for ages. And so, thank you for bearing witness and welcome to the club. Via the show notes, you'll find a private Facebook group where you can stay in touch and get involved in whatever magic is coming as this all develops.